Okay, so this is going to be Nick's 3D bow, and I got a narrower end limb taper design, a little faster, and we're going to put it on this backset jig. And it's too windy today to fire harden. On a calmer day, we're gonna fire harden it, but I'm going to put it on the backset jig today. So the wind's blowing. The wind's even blowing this around now. Okay, so I'm going to heat it up with a heat gun and get it to conform to the backset jig, and then we'll get it ready for fire hardening. I had this stave inside, put aside, and this is going to be for Nick for 3D shooting, and we shoot with a bunch of guys on Thursday nights. And this is going to be Nick's fire hardened hickory bow that I have the limbs tapered, should be a little faster, and it's going to be around the 37-pound range. And these got like a 27 inch draw, 27 to 27 and a half inch draw. So I'm going to heat this up, get it to conform to the jig, and everything's really dry here on Long Island and super windy today, and I'm not going to fire harden it today. We're going to wait till a calm day. And besides, I don't feel greatest. I got a sinus infection going on, and hopefully it'll be clear in a day or two, and I'll get to fire harden this. But it should be a little faster design. And what I learned about tillering, fire hardening, I'm going to make sure there's moisture in this. Even if I have to wet it down a bunch, I'm not going to fire harden it unless it's got like 6% moisture in it. And I found out that keeping these staves in my house during the winter, I have forced air heat. You know, it's a dry heat. And all these staves or anything I kept in the house was like 4%. So my moisture meter reads, a lot of them only read less than 5. It'll be 0. Mine's 4%, or less than 4 will be 0. So anyway, we're going to put moisture in it, make sure it's got 6%. Then after I fire harden it, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that before I tiller it, it has at least 6% moisture in it, because I will not tiller any bows with 4%. It's like tillering a potato chip, all right? And I appreciate all the help that the conversations I had in the past with Keith Shannon, Shannon Outdoors, on trying to get me to tiller perfectly, all right? And it's tough, you know, when you're an expert and you see what other people are doing, you can say, oh, I see that, and then you get somebody like me with bad eyes close, and I'm tillering it, looks good, but then when you look at the camera that's sitting back, you say, oh yeah, there's a flat spot here, flat spot there, you know. So when you do it by yourself, it's a little challenging, but I think I got a lot better. I really, since December, right, it's a little less than a year now, right? It's 11 months now I've been doing this, right? This next month, it'll be a whole year I've been making bows. And I've been making a lot of bows, and I've been making a lot of mistakes, and I've been learning a lot. So you could just tell by looking at it that I came a long way from the beginning bows and the beginning videos I made. So anyway, that's the project. We're going to make a nice, fast 37-pound bow for 3D and shooting with the guys indoors. And you can actually hunt with a bow that's 35 pounds or less on Long Island, but hunting bows are a little heavier. But you could hunt with it legally. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to heat this up with a heat gun. You see me doing a million times, clamp it down, and then once it cools off, I reverse the clamps. Instead of the clamps sticking up, I'll take it off the trailer and reverse one at a time, so it's ready for fire hardening. See those angle irons on the end? They hang on these posts and they hang over the fire, and you don't want the screws in the fire, so that's why you flip the clamps 180 degrees around after, once it's set, in preparation for fire hardening. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to fire harden Nick's 3D bow. So I take a wet rag and I wipe down the whole bow because it's dry. showing 0 reading in the limbs, and I'm going to leave it outside. I have hot air heat, and the house is very dry, and I want to have some moisture in this for fire hardening it. And also, after I'm done fire hardening it, I'm going to put moisture back in it for tillering it, because I won't tiller anything unless it's got like 6%. I'd rather have 8, but at least 6% moisture to tiller it. And I don't want to make this like a potato chip, cook it when it's dry. Today's the day that I'm going to fire harden my son Nick's Hickory self bow. This is going to be his 3D bow. It's going to be 37 pounds. And we're going to fire harden it, and we're going to watch the color of the wood. We're going to get a nice dark brown today. And last night I checked the moisture, and it was reading 0. And what I did was I added moisture to it, and I was going to leave it out on the back deck all night. But after a while, after a couple hours, it was going to be cold temperatures, and I decided to bring it in the house. So this morning it's reading between 6 and 8%, which is fine for fire hardening. Once these coals turn white, we're going to put it on, and we're going to let it go for however long it takes to get a nice dark brown color. Just in case this is the first time you watching me fire harden a bow, there's 2 things that are very important. These big heavy fireplace gloves for safety, and the other thing that's very important is a stick. And you see how we have the coals kind of shaped along the line of the bow? Down here by the riser, we're going to just make sure there's more coals right here by the fade out, and where the handle sticks down, the riser sticks down, there's only going to be a couple of coals there. And with the tin foil, you're able to push them down. Okay, so here we go. Okay, we've got them. Once these coals catch a little more, then I'll show you how we test the heat. So once again, if this is the first time you saw me fire hardening a bow, I had several conversations with Keith Shannon, and I'm grateful for him sharing his knowledge with me. And the best way to tell if you have the right height for fire hardening is a hand test. You put your palm right underneath the limb, palm up, and if you can count 1, 2, and at the 3rd count you can't hold your hand there, that's kind of the right method. And I tried different things. You can't go by measuring, because different thicknesses of coals will produce different heat at different heights. But the hand test just seems to be the best way. I don't know how he came up with this, but it works. So I already checked it, but here we go. 1, 2, 3. I can't hold it anymore. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You know, it's hot. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's about the right height. And our start time with these coals going good now is 12:20 by the clock outside, which is actually 11:20 because I never set it back. So this is going to go. We're going to check it every 15, 20 minutes. And we're looking for a nice brown color. We don't want to have any scorching. We just like to have that nice brown color. Okay, it's 1:10. Figured I'd show you what the limbs look like. They're starting to brown nicely right to the tips. Here we go on the right side. Okay, it's getting there. And once again, it's 10 after 1 by the outside clock. And we have to go a little more. Okay, it's not that time is important. It's been like 2 hours. And we got nice browning on the inner limbs and the fade outs. And we're requiring a little more browning on the outer limbs. So I got the coals pushed down, and we're going to let it go, and hopefully we get some nice color on the outer limbs too. And time isn't a factor in this. It's all by color, and got to be patient, and it'll come out fine. Okay, this hickory bow had cooked for a couple of hours and it looks good. We got browning into the fade outs and it's cool. I'm gonna let it cool a little more, take off the clamps, and I'll show you the back set. Okay, check out the nice back set we got on that bow. Show you the browning quick. Got it into the fade outs. Okay, and next is going to be putting moisture in. I'm going to get a wet rag and I'm going to put moisture in a couple of times tonight, and we're going to put it in the house and let it acclimate to the room, and in the next couple of days we're going to tiller it, and I'll show you detailed tillering. And this is going to be my son's 3D bow. Good morning. This is going to be Nick's fire hardened 3D bow. For the first time I put antler tips on the bow. I took down the ends a little bit, tapered them. I cut the antlers. I glued them on with AE40, and I heard that type arm works just as good, but these happen to be put on and let dry for 2 days with the AE40. And I had pre-shaped it for the most part, and then I used the end of a barrel Dremel just to touch the ends to make the ends nice and round, and then sandpaper and a belt sander to shape it a little bit. I cut the string groove across first and then the sides, and what I believe now after doing this, that it would be easier to put the string grooves in first, then glue the tip on, and then go into it on an angle and cut it across, because it's difficult to cut the string angles once the tip's on. Not that difficult, but I think it would be easier. Okay, so let me show you. Looks pretty good, I think, for the first time ever doing it. Okay, and like I said, he has a short draw like me. It's going to be like 36, 37 pounds at 28. That's the goal anyway. All right, he has a smaller hand like me, so this is going to work out fine. Today's the day we're going to carefully micro-tiller it and get it pulling back. It's been really dry, and the past couple of days I've been wiping it down and adding moisture. And like I said in an earlier video, I have a forced hot air heat in the house, and I think that dried them out a lot. So we got like 6% in the limbs or so. So it's okay to tiller. Okay, I have the center of the riser measured from the top edge of the string groove I cut this time. Trying something different from the top edge of the string groove cut on the other side. All right, and that's the center mark right here. That's the center mark. And then I marked where the fade outs were, where it starts to transition down into the riser, and they're equal from the center. And then what I did was from the bottom angle here, the end tips will be a little stiffer, just only a little bit. I measured down an inch because of the taper. So I have a point, the reference point, to where to put the yardstick. Okay, so it's 1 inch from here, probably 2 inches will be a little stiff. And I'm going to use the yardstick from here to the fade out to measure that mirror image. And I also put a center mark between those 2 points, okay? So those are my reference marks for today, right, wrong, and different. That's what I'm going with. And I'm going to try to micro-tiller it and tiller it perfect, and hopefully we have no problems today. Okay, let's start the tillering process. Okay, I have to go down 1 more inch because it's not level yet, too far up, and I'm going to go inside and get a hat because the sun's blinding me. With a brim. If you're working out here like I am in the sun, you won't be able to see accurately with sun blinding you. And this hat with a big brim actually makes life a lot easier when you're doing the tillering. Okay, I had to go down 1 more notch to get it to flex a little more. Otherwise, it was too far up to use the straight edge. Okay, so we're going to mark it from here. We're going to look from here to here at the bend. And right now, believe it or not, it's got a pretty good mirror image from there. Let's check out the other side. Okay, and what we got over here is pretty good too. We need a little bit off here and a little bit down here. Okay, a little down here on the end. And then what I'm going to do is, because I can feel how intense the weight is, we're going to take off about 20 strokes. Okay, off both limbs, just to lighten it up a little bit. Okay, remove some material, and I removed like 20 strokes with a dull belt on the belt sander. And I just stringing this up, I can tell it still needs a bunch of weight to be removed. But let's check out the bend. That's what we're trying to get, the bend, the micro tillering. Okay, look at that. We got it to bend a little more. Okay, but we can see right here from the distance when you stand back, it needs to bend here. Okay, let's check out over here. Believe it or not, we still got that pretty good mirror image here, just reducing some weight. Might need a little bit, just a stroke or two here more. Okay, for the sake of time on this video, I went back and forth approximately 5 times. And I've been putting up the yardstick from here, from the part I marked on the fade out, to this part here, 1 inch away, 2 inch, or 1 inch away from the string groove. And I've been looking at it, and we got a mirror image. From what I could see, a mirror image going on now. And from here to here, standing back, I found out I have to stand back a little, or else I can't get an accurate reading. We have a little bit needs to become off here, a little bit more here. But for the most part, it's mirror image, except for me touching up there. And I'm pulling this down to where the 19.5 inch mark is for the groove. And I'm just curious how much weight is at that 19.5 mark. So let's see. You know, they say you shouldn't pull down more than the intended weight. But this is so heavy, just that little bit of tillering, just to get it level, it's like a 50-pound bow. So what we have to do now is we really have to focus on weight reduction. So I'm going to go back and forth with weight reduction, and once I get it down, I'll come back and show you what we're doing. Meanwhile, what I do is I'll show you what I do on a belt sander for reduction. Now, if you want to be safe, which I suggest you be safe with weight reduction, you could mark the whole limb with a pencil, right? Mark the whole limb with a pencil. And then what you do is take the sandpaper and start in the middle and work your way out until that pencil line is gone. And then add the pencil line again, back and forth, okay? That's what you have to do, okay? Now, when I used to be a disc grinder, I have a good feel for the belt sander. I have an 80 grit belt on. I have to be careful with the weight I remove, because once you take off too much weight, you're done. You made a kitty bow, all right? But we're going to take this little bit off here. You see this little bit on the edge? It's from here to here. So I'll hit the belt from here and go back and forth, and then I'll touch the whole thing, and then I'll start taking strokes off. Okay, so watch. Now wait. So you can see we're working with a loose string right now. And I went down just for a reference point to that 19.5 inches. And we're going to see when I pull it down what the weight is. But there really isn't a lot of stress on the limbs at this point. We're just taking they're basically the back set out of it. We're making a level plus a little bit more, okay? Okay, let's see what we got at that 19.5 inch mark. Okay, at the 17.5 inch mark, we got 45 pounds. So we're going to keep going until we remove enough material. Okay, I've been going back and forth, and I've been doing like 10 of those light strokes every time. And I have about 60 strokes on this. Kept going back and forth and checking the pounds. Okay, at 18, I have 38 pounds. At 18 inches, I have 38 pounds. So we need a little more to go. So now that we went from like 54 to 38 pounds with that slight flex, what we're going to do is we're going to check that with the yardstick and start taking off material again, okay? We're going to make sure, we're going to try and get that mirror image. So let's see what we got here. Okay, now look at that. Now you tell me that that really isn't that bad out of taking all that weight off, but we do see where we have to remove some, right? Okay, it's not bending enough here. Okay, but you do see we took a bunch of weight off, right? And it's not bad. I'm telling you, it was 60, 70 strokes. Now look at that. It's crazy good, right? It's unbelievable, right? Because we had pretty much micro-tilled, mirror image, and I knew it was really heavy, and then we started doing even strokes. Well, sometimes we get lucky. I took off the high spots, and we're down at that, which actually is 18.5, the arrow pointing up. And we're going to check out that bend and see how I did with the bend. And just to get a better reading, I stand back a little bit, and we get a nicer bend here, okay? It's a nicer bend. Let's check over here. Look at that. Look at that beautiful bend, okay? Now we're going to check the weight at that 18.5 and see what we got. Okay, at 18.5, we got 38 pounds. Okay, we're going to remove some more weight. Everything's looking good. It's a process. It takes time. We don't really want to go over that weight. But as you can see, the limbs are barely flexing. There's really not a lot of stress on them. We only went down a couple inches, and we have a lot of work to do. Going to remove some more weight, and we'll get back to it. I took off 15 strokes and checked the weight. Then I took off another 15 strokes, and now we're at 19 and a half with that loose string. And again, those limbs really aren't bending much. And we have a reading of 38 pounds. We're going to just go check with the, we want to get that mirror image. Let's see how we're doing. That looks pretty good. It looks beautiful, right? Look at that. It looks beautiful, right? So now, because we're have it hardly flexed and it's at 38 pounds, I'm going to do what I've been doing. Just keep on removing some weight and get the weight down, okay? Once again, if you never use the power tool, you know, do the hand sanding. If it takes a couple days, it takes a couple of days. You can't add wood on. You have to, when you're sanding over that belt sander, make sure it's level. It's real easy to torque it and remove too much wood from one side, and then you wreck your bow. Okay, it just so happens that for when I was a kid, it kind of stuck with me, and I've always used a disc grinder throughout the years. But I did it for a few years, and I was really good at it. So I kind of have a good feel for it, you know, just from practice over and over. So once again, be cautious. If you're going to use a belt sander, you know, and you're going to do that, use a couple of strokes, make sure it's level when you go back and forth, check it, check each side of the limb, make sure they're equal. It's nothing to play with. You can ruin a bow in a blink of an eye with power tools. Okay, because it's noisy, I'm not going to do this too long, but I'm going to show you once again. I put light, I use my palm of my hand to make sure that this is level. And I'll show you what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm doing that on each limb, okay? And then I'm checking, I go back and forth. But you have to be careful, like I said, you know, use your hand to make it even, go back and forth, don't take off too much. Okay, always watch the limbs for anything that I see that's unusual. And there's like a little crevice, I would say, not really so much a crack there that I see. I sanded it the best I could without going into any layers. Okay, it's really close to the tip. And I'm going to use put a little super glue in. I'm going to just wipe it and let it set up there for a while. I'm going to go in and hydrate and take about a half hour and then come out. I'm going to work it. Well, I gave it about 40 minutes or so, and then I just put a little more glue on that crack, and I put a little sawdust over it. And I've been noticing that the video I've been taking is a little cloudy because of the screen protector. So I'm going to go to the phone store now, let this dry a little bit, and get a new screen protector put on because it's driving me crazy. Okay, I'm back. New screen protector. I hope the picture's a little more clearer. Okay, this is got the sawdust in it, and we're going to start tillering it. Whatever happens, happens. Okay, we're at 20 and a half. And at 20 and a half, we got a nice mirror image going on. We got a nice mirror image going on this side too. Everything is going along really well. Actually, we're at 20 and a half, so it's at 20 and a half. Let me see what the pounds are while we're here. Okay, it's a little more, it's 41. Got to do more weight reduction. A lot of weight reduction on this bow, a lot. So, okay, I'm using a little shorter string. So at 16 and a half, it's 38 pounds. So let's just check it quick. Okay, looking good. It's looking good. We got a nice mirror bend there. Let's look over here. Got a nice mirror bend here. I think it's bending more there on that side than it is over here. So we're going to just check that measurement. The right side has an eighth of an inch less of a bend than the left side. So I got to take off more material over there. Okay, to tell if the limbs are bending even, you could just use a tape measure to the center point. But what I just did here now is just had a piece of paint stirrer and I marked the line. Okay, you can see it's at the line now. And like I said, I usually use a tape measure, but this is solid here. I'm holding it solid. Okay, I got the limbs bending even, but we're at 37 pounds, so I have to take off weight. Even though they're even, there's no sense going down until I remove weight. It's a big process removing weight, and you can't be in a rush. Okay, with that shorter string, we're at 21 and a half for 37, and we're still not down enough where the limbs are flexing enough to even be brace height yet. But let's just see what we got here. We got 1.5 here. We got almost 1.5 here. So this needs a couple of more strokes off of this side when we make the weight reduction, and it still has to go down a lot more. Hundreds of strokes. Hundreds and hundreds of strokes. Okay, I've been going back and forth with the weight reduction, and we're checking out the mirror images here. And this is the bottom limb. I'm just calling this the bottom limb. It's 1.75 inches to that center mark. Here's what we're calling the top limb. And they have nice mirror images. They have nice images here going on. And we have almost 1.75. Almost. It's a little shy. So we got to take a little more material off this top limb. And we're almost at the point where we can put a string on it. Almost. Okay. We're at a 5-inch, 5.5 inch. Well, it'll be a 5.5 inch brace height. Okay. So we're almost there. We're almost there for a string. I put the string on with a low brace height, and I realized that the string angles were not down enough. So I reshaped. I lowered them a little bit. You can see I lowered them a little bit. Same on both limbs. I made the ankles go down a little bit more, and when you pull it back, it's okay because the string will lift and there's plenty of room for it to lift. Now this is a really short brace height. I'm going to tighten it up. It's only 4.5. Just checking the evenness of it here. Let's check the evenness. See what we got here. 5 3/8. 5 1/4. See what it is in the middle. 4.5. This side here has to, the bottom limb has to get tilted a little bit more. We have to take off a little more weight. It's not bending as much as the top. We got a 5 3/4 inch brace height, and everything is even. Just gonna take a quick look at our tiller job. Hey, beautiful, right? Looks beautiful. Right? What an awesome tiller job, right? Mirror images. We're going to go down a little and see what we got for weight and where we have it. $23.5, which is actually 25.5. We got 37. Okay. It's almost there. All right. So what we're going to do is put it down quick, check it out a little longer, and see what we got here. Beautiful. Looking really good. No hinges, no nothing. It's perfect. Okay. So I think I'm going to take off a very little bit and sand it and then shape it. Okay, we have a 6.5-inch brace height. When after I shape the grip where your hand goes in, it'll be 6 3/4. Let's see what weight we got at. We have to go down to, if we go down to 25.5, it'll be 27.5. So if we go down to 24.5, it'll be 26.5. So let's go down to this 24 mark here and see what we got. Okay, we got 38 pounds. Got 38 pounds, okay? 38 pounds. 24.5, so that'll be 25.5, 26.5. That'll be 26.5, 38 pounds. Okay? I think I'm going to take a couple of strokes off. Okay, everything is absolutely perfect. I think we're done. We're going down to 24.5, which would be 26.5. And we're going to see what weight we got. And we got 37 pounds on the money. Beautiful. I think I did an outstanding job on this. Now it's shaping time. Okay, let me show you what we have here. It's all shaped. Okay, look at the handle. Tapered risers there. Look at that, huh? Nice, feels good. Okay, but I'm done for today. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to put a serving on that string I made. And tomorrow's another day. And we'll see what happens. I may use natural walnuts to stain this tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow's another day. I'm tired now, and I know when to quit. It's time to quit. Okay, the microphone died, but what I did was I had the walnut husk, and I peeled the husk, the outer shell off the nut. Has that husk, it has the dye in it, and I rubbed it up and down the bow, and I got a nice light golden stain color, and let it dry, and I'm going to give it a coat of warm satin polyurethane. Okay, so here's what it looks like, finished. Okay, I didn't coat the antler tips, I coated all around it. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is the natural walnut husk that I peeled and just rubbed on. And it just takes minutes to do, it really does. This is the first coat of warm satin polyurethane. Looks pretty good. Even the antler tips look pretty good. Okay, this is the second coat of warm satin polyurethane. It's been on there for like 45 minutes, so it's looking good and dry. Antler tips. Everything looks good. This is my son Nick's fire hardened hickory bow for 3D shooting. I have a narrow limb design. Okay. Has antler tips. Nice shaped shelf. He's been working a lot of overtime, and he's been checking out the build in between doing double shifts. Just so happened that after I got done tillering it and shaping it, he came home from work and got to at least pull it back a couple of times. And I'm going to take some shots today. I'm going to take some shots today just to finish up the video, okay? Because the kid's been working a lot. So here we go. I wanted to show you the profile. We're going to string it up. See the back set? Let me see if you can see the back set. Okay, it's got a nice back set in it. Push it on my heel. I pull with the grip, the riser, and I slide up the top. Okay. Okay, we're going to shoot at the first deer is 15 yards. The one by the bag is 20, and that further one's 25. And just want to see how it shoots. These are Nick's arrows. They're 700 spine and trotters. And we're going to just take a couple of shots and see if I can hit the target with it. Right there. Let's try 20. Pretty snappy, and it's got a little weight to it. Not bad. Not bad. I'm going to just take a shot at 25 now. Okay, for the first time ever shooting it with these arrows, I'm happy with it. I'm sure he'll be after he practices with it. Okay, let's move this over just a little bit. Get a clearer picture of the 25. Wow. Okay. It's fast, and I'm happy with it. So I hope he'll be happy with it. Let's go check it out. Let's go take a look. I have the junky camera stand with me because the other one's in the garage. Okay, this is the 15-yard shot. Here's the 20-yard shot. And here's the 25-yard shot. So, okay, Nick's got a fine bow for 3D. He just has to practice when he's not working. And that's the end of this video. Watch my other videos on Bare Bow Joe.